going into a tough draw like this, what are some of the techniques you use to keep your mind on the job and not be distracted by all the stuff around?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just realize that, I mean, yes, it's a Grand Slam, and it's every Grand Slam you want to perform and do your best, but and you want to take advantage of the moment now because tomorrow isn't promised. But you also, I don't know, it's like a fine line of playing like your life depends on it, but also not playing like your life depends on it, like in a way that I try to give it my all, and when I leave the court, just knowing I give it my all, but also knowing that regardless of results, I still have things that I can look forward to. I think at the beginning of my career, I wrapped myself too much into the results of part of my identity, and now I no longer do that. I mean, I still get disappointed and stuff, but I don't, like, it doesn't view the way I changed change the way I view myself.
Coco Gauff just sat down for her Australian Open pre-tournament press conference, and when reporters brought up her blowout loss to Iga Swiatek at the United Cup, she didn't sugarcoat anything. No diplomatic answers, no careful PR speak, just raw honesty about what happened and what it means heading into the first Grand Slam of the year. Her comments are already creating waves across tennis media.
You know, everything happens for a reason, and some of my failures in the past, I think, help me now, and I think I appreciate life much more because of the moments that I guess I didn't win or the matches that I didn't get.
Do you think Coco Gauff can finally beat Iga Świątek at a Grand Slam in 2026? Or does Świątek just have her number? Drop your honest take in the comments.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
I've always been eager for there to be more gingers in tennis, so how does it feel to be part of this tribe now?
It feels good. I thought it would help me out, considering there's another ginger doing really well. So maybe it'll give me some luck because he has a pretty good record here, and I don't, so we'll see.
Let's set the scene properly because context matters here. At the United Cup just days before the Australian Open, Coco Gauff faced Iga Swiatek in a match that was supposed to be competitive. These are two of the best players in women's tennis. Gauff is a US Open champion, former world number 2, one of the brightest stars in the sport. Swiatek is a multiple Grand Slam champion, former world number 1, arguably the most dominant player of the past few years. The match should have been close. It wasn't, not even remotely. Swiatek absolutely demolished Gauff in straight sets, and it wasn't one of those respectable 6-4, 6-4 losses where both players competed hard and things just didn't go Gauff's way. This was a complete dismantling. Swiatek made Gauff look like she didn't belong on the same court, dictating every rally, overwhelming her with power and precision, leaving Gauff scrambling and frustrated. The final score doesn't even tell the full story of how one-sided this beatdown was. Gauff looked lost out there, unable to find answers to Swiatek's relentless baseline attack. Her serve, the stroke that's been her biggest weapon and biggest weakness depending on the day, completely abandoned her. Her forehand, which can be brilliant when she's confident, leaked errors all over the court.
Coco, good luck for the Australian Open. I know
you.
you were speaking lightheartedly before about your hair, but you made the comment, I haven't done very well here. You've got a semi-final and a quarter-final on your resume. I mean, how difficult is it to walk away satisfied when you've won Grand Slam titles when you don't win one at a
Yeah, it is crazy. Like, I guess, yeah, I should be proud of the semifinal result here. But I was explaining this actually to my friend, and I was just like, yeah, you just don't, after like winning, nothing feels as satisfying like as that. I think the only thing that I would be satisfied with is making a quarterfinal at Wimbledon because I've lost like 4th round so many times. So I think that would be like the only non-win result I would be completely satisfied. It doesn't mean I'm not proud of myself if I like lose, and even the year I lost in the semis, I was proud of that tournament. I think it's just more the satisfying.
It was the kind of loss that sticks with you, the kind that makes you question your game, your preparation, your ability to compete with the absolute best when everything is on the line. So when Gauff showed up to her Australian Open pre-tournament press conference, everyone knew the Swiatek loss would come up. The question was how she'd handle it. Would she deflect, make excuses about preparation time or conditions, downplay the significance because it was just the United Cup and not a Grand Slam? Nope. Gauff didn't do any of that.
Compared to some of your other fellow top players, it seems like maybe you have these ups and downs, these highs and lows. Like even a week like the United Cup, the Budapest Monero match, then like a few days later the Iga match.
Yeah.
What's that like for you? And sort of how much of a sort of goal is it of the year to get more sort of consistency, I suppose, from sort of match to match?
Yeah, no, it definitely is a goal to be more consistent. But I mean, for me, I just look at it as life. Like, they're 25, 26, and most in areas in life, you're a 25-year-old or 26-year-old is more consistent than a 21-year-old. So I kind of look at it that. But also knowing that I do want to be more consistent. I want to give it my all in each match. But I think it's more so, I feel like more of that stemmed from just like my serve and having good days and really bad days. So I think the more that stroke becomes more consistent, the more my results will become more consistent.
When a reporter brought up her inconsistency, specifically referencing her great win over Lucia Bronzetti at the United Cup followed days later by the Swiatek disaster, Gauff didn't flinch. She acknowledged it directly, saying it's something she deals with as a 21-year-old player still developing consistency. "I just look at it as life," Gauff said with remarkable honesty. "A 25 or 26-year-old is more consistent than a 21-year-old in most areas of life. So I kind of look at it that way, but also knowing that I do want to be more consistent." That's a refreshingly mature perspective. She's not making excuses, but she's also recognizing reality. She's younger than most of her top-level competition, still learning how to bring her best tennis every single match, still figuring out how to minimize the gap between her best days and her worst days. But then she went further, and this is where it gets interesting. "I think it stems more from my serve. Having good days and really bad days," Gauff admitted. "The more that stroke becomes more consistent, the more my results will become more consistent." There it is. No dancing around the issue. No pretending everything's fine. Gauff called out exactly what everyone who watches her tennis already knows. Her serve is wildly inconsistent, and that inconsistency is directly responsible for the roller coaster nature of her results. Against Swiatek specifically, that serve inconsistency becomes catastrophic. When you're facing someone who returns as well as Swiatek does, who puts constant pressure on every service game, who never gives you free points, you cannot afford to double fault at crucial moments. You cannot afford to miss first serves and then float in weak second serves that Świątek attacks mercilessly. That's exactly what happened in their United Cup match. Gauff's serve fell apart, Świątek pounced on every opportunity, and the match spiraled out of control before Gauff could stabilize. What makes Gauff's honesty even more noteworthy is how rare it is in professional tennis. Most players, especially after brutal losses, stick to safe media training answers. They talk about learning experiences and staying positive and focusing on the next match. They never actually identify specific weaknesses or admit that certain parts of their game are holding them back. Gauff doesn't play that game. She's been remarkably candid throughout her career about her struggles, her doubts, and the specific areas where she needs improvement. That transparency is both refreshing and slightly risky. It gives opponents insight into her mental state, but it also demonstrates a level of self-awareness that most 21-year-olds don't possess. The serve issue isn't new. It's been following Gauff throughout her entire professional career. Sometimes it looks elite, big, powerful, placing aces in crucial moments. Other times it looks like a liability, with double faults clustering at the worst possible times and second serves that sit up begging to be attacked. She's worked with multiple coaches trying to fix it. She's changed her motion. She's adjusted her toss. She's spent countless hours on practice courts grooving the mechanics. And yet, the consistency still isn't there. The problem is as much mental as it is technical at this point. When Gauff is confident, when the pressure is manageable, her serve works fine. But in high-stakes moments against elite competition, especially against someone like Świątek, who she's developed a psychological block against, the serve becomes unreliable, which creates a cascade of problems throughout her entire game. The Świątek matchup specifically has become Gauff's white whale. She's beaten almost every other top player at various points. She's won a Grand Slam, she's been ranked number 2 in the world. But against Świątek, she keeps running into the same wall. Part of it is stylistic. Świątek's heavy topspin and relentless consistency put pressure on Gauff's forehand, which can be brilliant, but also breaks down under sustained attack. Swiatek's return game neutralizes Gauff's serve, turning what should be an advantage into just another neutral rally. And Swiatek's mental toughness means she rarely gives Gauff openings to climb back into matches once they start slipping away. But part of it is also psychological at this point. Gauff has lost to Świątek enough times in big moments that there's likely some mental baggage attached to the matchup. She probably steps on court against Świątek knowing she has to play near-perfect tennis to have a chance. And that pressure creates tension, which affects the serve, which starts the whole cycle of frustration. During the press conference, Gauff also addressed the broader question of satisfaction and expectations heading into the Australian Open. When a reporter pointed out that she's reached a semi-final and quarterfinal in Melbourne, results most players would celebrate, but Gauff called it not doing very well here. She explained her mindset. After winning, nothing feels as satisfying unless you win, Gauff said bluntly. The only non-win result I would be completely satisfied with is making a quarter-final at Wimbledon, because I've lost in the fourth round so many times there. That comment reveals everything about where Gauff's head is at right now. She's won a Grand Slam at the US Open. She knows what that feels like. And now, anything less than winning feels incomplete, unsatisfying, not good enough. That's the blessing and curse of early success. On one hand, it proves you can do it, gives you confidence, validates all the work you've put in. On the other hand, it raises the bar for what counts as success, making every subsequent tournament feel like a disappointment if you don't win at all. Gauff tried to clarify the difference between satisfaction and pride, noting that she's usually proud of her effort even in losses, but the satisfying feeling only comes from winning. That's an important distinction. She's not beating herself up or being overly harsh. She's just being honest about what genuinely feels fulfilling versus what feels like falling short. The Australian Open draw didn't do Gauff any favors. She opens against Sofia Kenin, a former Australian Open champion who's dangerous on hard courts, even when her ranking doesn't reflect it. If Gauff gets through that, the draw potentially sets up another meeting with Świątek in the later rounds. When asked about her first-round match, Gauff gave the most perfunctory answer possible. She's a great player, good baseliner. I remember our match from China. That's all I have to say. I haven't really thought about the match too much yet. Translation: I'm not giving away any tactical insights or showing my hand before the tournament even starts. That's smart media management, but it also shows that Gauff has learned when to be brutally honest and when to keep things close to the vest. One of the more interesting moments in the press conference came when Gauff discussed her changed relationship with results and identity. She admitted that early in her career, she wrapped too much of her self-worth into tennis results, but she no longer does that. I still get disappointed, but it doesn't change the way I view myself, she explained. That's massive personal growth for someone who became famous as a teenager and has lived under intense scrutiny for years. The ability to separate performance from identity is one of the hardest skills for elite athletes to develop. When your entire life revolves around winning and losing, when your value in the eyes of sponsors and media rises and falls with your ranking, it's incredibly difficult to maintain perspective and recognize that you're more than just your latest result. Gauff seems to have figured that out, at least intellectually. The real test is whether she can maintain that mindset when she's down a set and a break to Świątek at a crucial moment in a Grand Slam. Can she stay free and loose? Or will the pressure of expectations, both external and internal, tighten her up? The serve will tell the story. If Gauff's serve shows up in Melbourne, if she's making 65 to 70% of first serves, hitting spots, avoiding double faults at crucial moments, she's dangerous to anyone in the draw, including Świątek. Her movement is elite. Her return game is excellent. Her forehand, when it's on, can dominate rallies. But if the serve abandons her again, if the inconsistency shows up at the worst moments, she'll struggle to beat the absolute top players. And against Świątek specifically, she probably needs everything clicking just to have a chance. The press conference also featured some lighter moments. Gauff talking about her red hair, maybe it'll give me some luck, discussing the TV show Heated Rivalry that she's been promoting to other WTA players, and bantering with a young fan wearing her New Balance shoes. Those moments show the personality that's made Gauff one of the most marketable and likable players in tennis. But make no mistake, When it came to tennis substance, when reporters asked about the Świątek loss and her consistency issues, Gauff didn't hide. She faced the questions directly, acknowledged the problems honestly, and explained what she's working on to improve. That honesty might not win her matches by itself, but it demonstrates the kind of self-awareness and maturity that eventually leads to sustained excellence. Players who can't honestly assess their weaknesses never fix them. Players who make excuses never address the real problems. Gauff knows her serve is the issue. She knows her results against Świątek need to change. She knows she needs more consistency to compete for multiple Grand Slams, and she's willing to say all of that publicly, which takes courage. The Australian Open will reveal whether that self-awareness is translating into tangible improvement. If Gauff serves well and plays freely, she could make a deep run. If the serve breaks down and she faces Świątek again with the same mental baggage, we'll see another frustrating loss. Either way, don't expect Gauff to sugarcoat the results afterward. She's proven she'll tell you exactly what happened, no excuses, no deflections. In an era of carefully managed athlete brands and PR-approved statements, that honesty is almost as valuable as the tennis itself. So there you have it. Coco Gauff faced the Świątek loss head-on and didn't make excuses about her biggest weakness. Whether that honesty translates into better results at the Australian Open remains to be seen. If you want more real talk about tennis drama and player rivalries, smash that like button and subscribe. Who wins if Gauff and Świątek meet again in Melbourne?